What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 7 of the Combine. Positives and negatives to each weekend, as always. Turns out I did jinx the Gophers. They've lost every single game since that fateful intro. Kelly's happy because Penn State dubbed up on us. Timberwolves are 2-1, but they lost to the Jazz, who surprisingly are 3-0. Kings are 0-3, but all their games are competitive, so My Minnesota Vikings, or our Minnesota Vikings with me and Jack and Joey fist pumping off camera, had a bye week, so I had a pretty stress-free Sunday. And the Packers lost, which is phenomenal. Always a good thing when the Packers lose. On today's episode, we're bringing back Rapid Fire with Jack Hansel and Chris Brassington, who makes his Combine debut. Then after that, I'll be joined by Dominic Moeller and Nathaniel Marrero as we recap UFC 280. The Combine starts now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back. Like I said, we're going to start off with Rapid Fire. I'm joined by Chris and Jack. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Chris. Happy to be here. First time on, and I'm ready to give some hot takes here.
I'm Jack. Timberwolves are 2-1. Rudy Gobert looks fantastic, and the Vikings are 5-1, and we got a really easy schedule coming up.
We got the Cardinals on a Call of Duty release weekend. It's Raps. It's Raps, and it's Kirktober. So we're gonna start off with Rapid Fire. We're bringing it back. It should be easier now that we have whiteboards and clip mics. So basically, I'm gonna give a little questions. They don't know the questions. Well, they know 4 of them. They don't know the questions specifically. So we're gonna get their takes from the hip. We're gonna see what's up. So question 1. First off, contenders. So it's gonna be contenders, pretenders, and defenders. So question 1, contenders, is a Bills-Chiefs AFC Championship game inevitable? So write it on your whiteboard and then flip in like 5-10 seconds. All right, flip. No? Okay, so Chris says yes, Jack says no. So Jack, who you got competing for that?
Well, it's the Chiefs for one. The Chiefs are most certainly going to make the AFC Championship. But the Bills, what have the Bills proven besides being a really good regular season team? They lost to the Chiefs twice in the playoffs. And I think the Ravens fully healthy. They have some stuff to figure out when it comes to game management in the second half. The Ravens looked really good. The Dolphins and Tua have still not lost. And there's a lot of competition still in the East, or AFC. So I don't think the Bills are just some powerhouse that are automatically going to make the AFC Championship.
The Dolphins are not knocking out the Bills. The Dolphins are not making further than the Bills.
Yeah.
I can't
What have the Bills?
that.
What
I can't
What have the
stomach
Bills
that.
proved in the playoffs? That
What have the Dolphins proven in the playoffs? They're 0-2 in the last 2 decades.
The same exact thing as the Bills. Nothing. So that is not just some forefound conclusion that the Bills will play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
That's okay. So question 2, how many Super Bowl caliber teams really are there?
Go. Oh, I don't know. That's tough.
All right, flip. Ooh, both agree. All right, give me your 5 right now.
Bucks, Bills, the Chiefs. Okay, just hear me out. The Bucks are going to turn it around. It's going to happen. It's going to be a turnaround. The Buccaneers, the Bills, the Chiefs. I think the Ravens do have a shot at it. And then I think you can throw the 49ers in there with CMC on their team now.
Can you explain the Bucks?
I mean, never bet against Tom Brady.
Never bet
that.
against Tom Brady.
Oh, man.
I think if they can figure it out, they get healthy, I think they still have a shot at it. They can win in the playoffs. They just have to get in the playoffs. They're going to win their division for sure, most likely. And
Most likely.
I think, the Falcons aren't going to win the division. Right. Neither are the Saints. So
Jack, don't say the don't say the Vikings. Sorry.
I'm not going to say the Vikings, believe it or not.
Give me your 5.
They're close. Eagles, 49ers, Chiefs, Ravens, and I want to say the Bills still.
Okay. So question 3, and you guys kind of both just answered that, like speaking of him. Where are the Niners finishing now that they have McCaffrey? Are you guys saying a trip back to the NFC Championship game, or is...
What do you want?
You don't even need the board for this, because you guys both just said the Niners are Super Bowl caliber. Yep. Where do you...
I'll say NFC Championship is definitely probably going to happen with them, unless McCaffrey gets hurt. But even then, the scheme still fits, and the NFC just looks so weak. The Vikings, I like them. Can we get the offense consistent? Maybe. The Giants, I'm not taking Daniel Jones over anyone, and the Bucs look really bad. The whole NFC looks pretty bad, so it's going to be hard for me to see the 49ers not make the NFC Championship.
I'd have to agree. I think the 49ers are definitely going to make the NFC Championship. They're top 2 in that conference.
Pivoting to NBA, the top 3 preseason, and probably still currently, it's only a week into the season, MVP odds, it goes Luka at 1, then Giannis, then Embiid. Is it going to one of those 3, or is it going out? I see Jack, the biggest NO of his life. Flip. Jack, you have
Yes.
Jokic, right?
Yes.
All right, we discussed this already. Chris?
Jokic is not winning 3 MVPs in a row. It's just not happening. The voters will never do it. I think before the season started, I had Joel Embiid winning the MVP award, but the 76ers have looked pretty bad. But I think they're going to turn it around. I think Embiid has a legit shot at that award. Otherwise, it'll be Luka probably.
I have Luka as mine. I think Embiid's defense has been really sus so far, and the Sixers have not been playing
Luka's
up to par.
Luka's really got defense. See, that should really be accounted for.
I have him, hot take, you see right there, he almost got a 30-point triple-double. It's a hot take, but I think he could do that this year.
Yeah, defense.
It all depends on the
For sure.
seeding, the Mavericks seeding.
So we're shifting to pretenders. You guys kind of were like, what is this? So Seattle and the Jets and Giants are both kind of exceeding expectations. Is it sustainable at all? The Giants are 6-1 now. I don't know how. I don't know how. Daniel Jones is that guy. Flip. Which are sustainable?
Well, the Giants have a really easy schedule for the most part. I don't see them falling off completely. The Seahawks, the division, besides the 49ers, who I think are going to be pretty good. The Rams look horrendous. The Cardinals do not look good. And who's the other team in that division?
Just that Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks, Niners.
Yeah, Rams, Cardinals, and the Niners, yeah. So, I mean, they have a bunch of division games. Again, schedule is not crazy hard. I don't think that's going to be just a huge fall off. I think the Seahawks will make the playoffs, no, but they'll be around 500.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Seahawks were projected to win like 5 or 6 games. I think they're going to get way over that. And the Giants, they have such an easy schedule that I don't think there's any way they win less than like 10 games at minimum at this rate. So I think the Giants will get into a wild card spot.
Tell your children about the 10-7 minimum Giants. That's crazy.
It's going to happen.
So they are who we thought they were. Famous rant by Dennis Green. I think we have a highlight if you do play it. If not, let me know in my ear.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
That's iconic. I don't care. So, teams that fooled us going into the season or even through like 2 or 3 weeks in the NFL, where teams looked like they turned the corner. The Lions are one of them to me, where they kind of went on a tear, but they were 1-2, and now they're Detroit. They're the Lions. They didn't let us forget. So one team, not the Lions, don't cheat, of who we thought would be a lot better this year. Flip. The Bucks and the
AFC West, just as a whole.
just the whole AFC.
I thought
West.
the Broncos would be better. I thought the
Raiders would be
Raiders
better.
would be better. I thought the Chargers would be better. They're not very good. None of them are really good at all. So, the whole AFC West, even the Chiefs, they've had their down moments. I think Mahomes needs to play a little better, but that'll come along because he's Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. I saw a stat yesterday. I didn't fact check. Full disclosure. That Patrick Mahomes has a higher win percentage in games where he's down by double digits than Justin Herbert has in every single game in his career. That is true. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
See, I was not lied to. That's foolish. That's what that
Yes.
is. Patrick Mahomes is
Best comeback quarterback of all time.
he's Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Shifting to defenders. So, do the Warriors finish as a top 2 seed in the West? Flip. Chris says yes, Jack says no.
Yes.
Chris actually told me he told us right before we went live that he has the Warriors repeating. I'd imagine Jack has the Timberwolves as 1 or 2.
I have the Warriors at least getting back to the finals, I would have to say, or at least the Western Conference Finals. They're going to be a top 2 seed. They're not injury prone, most of their top players, except for Clay, but I don't even know if he's their top 2 player at this point on the team. I think Wiggins is better. And I mean, Steph has dropped 30 points every single game this season. I don't see how they don't finish top 2 in the West unless they just start to rest players for the playoffs. That's all. Only thing I could see.
Well, if the question was, will the Warriors make the West Conference Finals, I would say yes. But the question was, will they be a top 2 seed? They weren't even a top 2 seed last year when they won the championship. And with how Steph aging, Clay aging, Draymond's definitely aging, I see them taking a lot of back-to-backs off, a lot of rest games off. So top 2 seed, no. Top 4 seed for sure. And the Western Conference is really good. You got teams like the Timberwolves, like the Nuggets, like the Mavericks.
You can't even say it without smiling and laughing.
Because
like you can't even say it without laughing.
Because I know the reaction within the group, but I am serious. These teams are really good, and it's just not some. It's not. The Warriors are not going to run the West. They will probably win the West, but they will not run the West during the regular season.
So they heard defenders, and they had an idea of this. They had an idea of the following question, but this question they were like, I don't know what the third one is. Tyler Hero, can he repeat as Sixth Man of the Year? It's him and Jordan Poole are the 2 favorites. Just quick, go. Who you got, real quick?
Not Tyler Hero. Jalen Noel.
Yeah, not. Oh my.
Tyler Hero
no
starts.
Way. No way.
Jalen Noel's averaging 20 points per game right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. But Tyler Hero starts, so I don't know how he's gonna get Sixth Man of the Year when he starts.
Yeah, I think Jordan Poole's gonna win it. I don't see how. I mean, he's the best scorer, and he plays the most minutes out of the 6 men, and he's not going to get into the starting lineup anytime soon, as long as Klay Thompson's healthy. So I don't see how Jalen Noel wins it, but
I don't. Jalen Noel's 20 points per game, speaking pretty high right now. So
real quick, just one word. Describe the Rams season. It's probably going to be negative, we know, but just describe the Los Angeles Rams season, and then it's a wraps.
I'm doing 2 words.
Oh, that's cheating. Does it have a hyphen?
No, it does.
It does now.
No, it does.
We got terrible and
Worth it.
worth it because they won the shit.
They won a Super Bowl.
It's worth it.
Everyone knew they were going to fall off because they traded all their picks. But they won the Super Bowl at the end of the day.
Terrible. They're just, I mean, you see the
they've
graphic right here.
They've just been terrible.
It's been night and day.
All their wins have been against bad teams, so I don't see them doing anything in the playoffs.
They're going to beat the Bucks though.
No.
That's all the time we have for this segment. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to Jack and Chris for joining us. It's time to pay some bills. Don't go anywhere because after the break, Dominic, Nathaniel, and I recap UFC 280.
Welcome to HCF Hot Takes. I'm Johnny Jackson. We've got Emily Aaron to my right and Maluka Costa to my left.
Hello and welcome to our segment of Hot Ones. I'm here with Noah Kemper and Grant
Wheeler.
Yep, I knew that. Grant Wheeler.
Listen, I'm a Bulls fan, but I just can't ever argue against LeBron. I watched him my whole life.
I've been going back and forth with this debate for a long time. It's got to be Michael Jordan.
Whatever she wanted. I would wake up in a maid costume for Doja Cat.
Brutal.
Jeffrey Laux, no question.
Richie, I would give it to Richie.
It is not Richie. It is not Richie.
No, it's Jeff.
Richie's pronouns are he, they, because he cannot be him.
What?
Oh, wait a second.
I'm gonna have to also agree and say Jeff. He always is spiffy.
It might be Cameron. Cameron's had some good fits.
Out of the women, Norelli always dresses really, really cute.
Oh, that went so awful.
It's basketball.
College football, I think, is the best sport to watch. If you don't like soccer, it's because you suck at it.
I think college football is the best.
Thanks for watching.
Welcome back. So big fights this weekend. UFC 280, arguably the card of the year when it was released. We got 2 title fights. O'Malley Yan will cover, I don't know how. And the featured prelim was a fight that, in my opinion, could have been on the main card. I think it should have been. I think there's some sort of contractual requirement to have one women's fight on the main card. And I think the Bilal Muhammad Sean Brady, that's not a co-main, that's like a third fight on any other card. So I'm joined by Dominic and Nathaniel. Introduce yourself. You guys have both been on here, and then give us your takes on Bilal Muhammad versus Sean Brady.
Hi, I'm Dominic. I'm making I don't even know how many appearances I've made on this show. But my take on the whole Muhammad and Brady fight is just it kind of shows Brady's toughness. I mean, in my opinion, he was knocked out for a solid minute before they stopped the fight. I mean, props to that guy for just sticking in there and really just going out on his sword. But, you know, Muhammad really looked good this whole fight, and I don't know what's next for Brady. I don't know what's next for Muhammad. But it definitely showed that Muhammad's more durable than we thought before. But, more to see from him.
Yeah, no, it was a really good performance by Muhammad. His pace really, it broke Brady, and once he was able to hurt him on the feet, that was kind of the beginning of the end. And we'll see what's next for Muhammad. He was already in the top 5, and there's, the welterweight division is kind of a logjam. But I mean, definitely, he deserves a top contender fight once in this next fight.
Yeah, you want to talk about like that? I expected that to be a grapple fest, and according to UFC stats, according to UFC.com, every single strike thrown was a significant strike. It was just two guys just going out there and swinging.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I don't like I said, I don't know anybody was expecting that really.
And you got to love that type of fight.
Exactly.
I mean,
They showed out.
Yeah, you don't want to go see a wrestling match. You want to see guys just throwing down, and we saw that kind of in this fight. Like I said, Brady, it seemed to be knocked out for a solid minute there, and you love seeing that type of fight, and it just brings more eyes to the whole sport.
Yeah, it's you see it a lot of times when two fighters with good grappling, sometimes it cancels each other out, and that's what happened. And it was just Bilal Muhammad pushing the pace on the feet, and once he hurt him, he was able to get him out of there.
All right, so at the end of last episode, I did say the three of ours picks for 280. I forgot. I didn't get Nathaniel's. Nathaniel, did you have Jan? You had Jan,
I did
right?
pick Jan, yeah.
Full credit to Dominic. As soon as it happened, I was like, hey, shout out Dominic. You got it right. Sean O'Malley defeated Piotr Jan. Split decision.
Razor close decision there.
Very
super close.
People on Twitter were saying Jan was robbed. People were saying all that. I think my thing was that because they said O'Malley won round 1 and 3, which is fair. I think Jan had the takedowns in round 1, but he didn't do damage while the ground control. Whereas if they're judging off of strikes thrown, it's pretty much even. And if you're judging by damage, it's O'Malley. So at first I was like, that's silly, because I was watching with Johan, who was Bet's co-host last year, and Luca, who's Bet's co-host now, and some other people, and we all jumped up and we screamed. O'Malley by split decision was plus 1,600. It was an upset.
I've been calling it. I have been calling it. I think the big thing was you got Jan, who's he's a way shorter guy than O'Malley. They both have completely different styles. Like everybody says, styles really make fights. I thought O'Malley's style is just too much for Jan to handle. Jan taking him to the ground, as you could probably see from this, was easy. I mean, Jan was destroying him on the takedowns. But that's not how O'Malley fights. He really pushes the pace. He had way more significant strikes, and they're both able to then build off of that. I thought it was a great stand-up fight. When it got brought to the ground, I think O'Malley lost. I was surprised by it. I'm glad I got my pick correct. But, it's tough to call. I mean, it was the judge's call, but I don't know. If you score takedowns more, then
damage.
Jan's gonna probably win this one, but O'Malley
look at this. I understand.
I get it. But you got more significant strikes, more strikes to the head. He was really hitting them where it's just more notable. You're not really seeing the leg kicks. You're not really seeing the strikes to the body that close. As a judge, you should be able to see it, but as a viewer, you're not really appreciating it. But I really was surprised about the takedowns. I'm surprised with the ground control, too. I was just surprised that
it was Sean O'Malley's birthday this weekend. Happy birthday to him.
Yeah,
Nathaniel,
we got the dub.
He got the dub on his birthday.
So, I mean, it was razor thin. I mean, I picked Jan to win. It could have easily went either way. It wasn't a robbery. And for O'Malley to win, he had to show us something we hadn't seen before. We hadn't seen him in a dogfight. We hadn't seen someone push him the way Jan was going to push him. And he passed the test with flying colors, regardless of what you think of the decision. And O'Malley, when he had success, he was able to keep him at range. He caught him with a huge knee in the third round that split him open. Yeah. And it's just a super impressive performance by O'Malley, and it's only up from here. I mean, he might get a title shot off of this.
That's what we're talking about next. So what is next for bantamweight? Because Jan's not getting the rematch. Dillashan's not getting the rematch. O'Malley stock is like bye. Yeah. I'm done being an O'Malley. Well, I'm done being an O'Malley hater and O'Malley doubter. The way I worded it was, I don't hate him. He hadn't fought anybody, and his fight against Munoz was his opportunity to prove himself to me, and he just didn't. He lost round 1, and then he eye poked him, and then he celebrated an eye poke. I don't know how. So he proved himself to me this week, and that's good. So is O'Malley getting the title shot, or is it?
I would like to see him fight one more fight. Maybe Corey Sandhagen, that would be a really good next fight. The bantamweight division is kind of up in the air. Who knows what's going to happen next? I'd like to see Chito Vera fight Aljamain Sterling next. If that happens next, not sure. But I think one more fight for Sean O'Malley would be very beneficial for him in his career.
I think it's going to go that he is going to get the title shot. I mean, he brings in views, he brings in people, new eyes to the actual sport itself. So Aljamain, who in my opinion is kind of a boring fighter, he is then able to then elevate that fight a little bit, sell it more, maybe make it up to the main event of that whole card, maybe but I don't know. I see Sandhagen fighting Chito Vera. I think they're both, they're respected fighters in the division.
That's a good fight too.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great fight. Maybe a main header of a fight night, UFC fight night, but I don't know if they make the main card or a title shot.
I don't have an issue with bantamweight. Like, I don't know if they're gonna put him up against a grappler and really, because against Aljamain Sterling that'd be a wipe. Like, I don't have any. Like, that's
problem.
Disgusting. Like,
that's the problem that we kind of saw in this Jan fight, where he gets on the ground and he really doesn't know what to do. That's why, in my opinion, if he does fight Sterling, I mean, I said it, he's a boring fighter. I mean, he's able to dominate the ground, but it's gonna suck to see that fight. But if O'Malley can keep him on the ground, I think he wins that.
But if you want to be champ, I mean, those are the kind of guys you have to fight, and that's I mean, he's earned his shot. If that's where they go next, I mean, I won't complain. I don't think anyone can complain. I mean, O'Malley's earned this spot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did just mention Aljamain Sterling. So Aljamain Sterling defended his belt against TJ Dillashaw. 7 minutes of ground control. You could say, TJ Dillashaw dislocated his shoulder in the first round. He did. You could say he dislocated it 20 times since April. He did. But Aljamain Sterling he's the best wrestler in
the division.
Marab,
his teammate.
I'm not putting him above people I'm not putting him above Makhachev. I'm saying he's easily by far and away the best in the division, and like I said, if he goes against Malley, it's a wipe. So he mopped the floor with TJ.
That fight was just a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
What is TJ Dillashaw doing? Yeah. His shoulder dislocated 20 times during training camp. What kind of tests are they doing to make sure he's able to be cleared to fight?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for him to pull out, though. He said it himself. It took him so long to get there. I think, though, this is a controversial take here. I don't think Aljamain's really fought fights. Like, the past three fights that he's fought, 1, TJ throws out his shoulder. 2, that was a good fight by him. He beat Jan. But the first, when he won the championship off of a DQ by Jan, if you think about it, 2 out of the 3 fights, he's kind of gotten bailed out. I think that the second Jan fight proved him a little bit, but the same way, it proved in O'Malley. I think it's leading up to a good climax, but I don't know. I don't know what it is about Aljamain. I like his backstage where his UFC Undisputed, all that, but I don't know what it is. I think he's just really boring, and I get that wins fights, but I don't know if he's going to win this next one. I don't care. I don't know who he fights.
Nathaniel made a face when you said he hasn't fought anybody. So Nathaniel,
well, I mean, it's not. I mean, you fight Piotr Jan twice. I mean, it wasn't his fault that Piotr Jan threw an illegal knee in the first fight. Jan was winning the fight, but then he comes back in the second fight and he controls him on the ground and finds a way to win 3 rounds and retain his belt. Whether or not he deserved the belt after beating Jan the first time, that's a different question. But you can only do what it's not his fault Jan didn't know the rules in the first fight. And then TJ Dillashaw, it's not Sterling's fault that Dillashaw decided to fight with a completely messed up shoulder.
And I'm not saying anything against Sterling on that end. I'm just saying, he hasn't really fought any. He's gotten bailed out the past 2-3 fights. It's nothing against him as a fighter. It's just, he's been getting bailed out. And when you keep getting bailed out in the UFC, it starts to catch up to you. So I think he's going to get caught on this next fight. I'm saying it right now. Mark my words. I don't think he wins the next title defense.
Right, we're going to shift to the main event. Charles Oliveira was defeated by Islam Makhachev. Second round, triangle choke.
What a performance.
It was phenomenal. I wasn't expecting him. Nathaniel texted me. He's like, I was not expecting Makhachev to take him standing, and he dropped him, and then my stream buffered, and the next thing I know, Oliveira was tapping out.
Don't out your stream.
Yeah, I'm outing it. It was messy.
Don't mention the specific name either. Jesus, you guys are.
Well, you put the stream link on the doc.
That's only for you to.
So Nathaniel wrote a UFC 280 preview, and the first thing was a link to the illegal stream.
Oh my God! Dude.
All right, I will say this.
Can we move on?
Islam, I think he runs that division. I think he's gonna just control that division just like Khabib did. I thought Oliveira was the guy that would be the closest match for him and really go tit for tat for him. And wow, I mean, I was shocked. And he proved that he's that guy. And that division is going to be held by him for a while.
Or is it?
I mean, Charles Oliveira was on a run, and
you.
his ability to come back after being dropped, but Makhachev never gave him a chance to do that. And I think he was really shocked by Makhachev's power on the feet. Like the first left hand that Makhachev hit him with, you could kind of see Oliveira's facial expression change, and he tries to go to the ground, but that doesn't work as well against Makhachev because of his grappling. So, I mean, the times where he's able to bide himself time on the ground and recover, he couldn't do that. And then once Makhachev dropped him in the second round, I was able to get that arm triangle. That was it. The amount of pressure Makhachev has on the ground and with his chokes and any of his submissions, you see, like, guys don't try to fight out. It's like once he gets it locked up, it's done. They tap right away.
Yeah.
He knew it was. I mean, he's obviously the best submission artist in UFC history.
Knew.
You could probably, and he knew it was in. He tapped
and he did
quick.
it to. I mean, Charles Oliveira is the all-time leader in submissions in UFC.
Exactly.
He just ran right through him.
So very quick, Oliveira. The topic was going to be him, Volk, double belt. Whether it's 283 in Brazil, 284 in Australia. So 283, you see him as a co-main because Moreno Figgy is that main event.
Yeah,
you see that as a
fight.
second fight in his home country, Brazil. Just real quick, and then we got to move on to.
I think Oliveira versus Dariush should be a good co-main for that card if he's able to recover by then. In the fight.
Yeah, that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
So, Makhachev versus so Alexander Volkanovski is coming for the double belt. He says he's waiting at that weight. How's that going to happen? Presumably 284 in Perth as the main event. How is that going to happen?
I mean, it was amazing how Khabib just called his shot. He's like, yeah, we just won the belt, and we're going to go to his home country and defend our belt against him. I think Makhachev's too big and too strong for Volkanovski. Volkanovski is going to have to keep his distance, keep the fight at range, and use his striking. That's his biggest advantage. But Makhachev's no slouch on the feet either, like we saw. So I think Makhachev runs right through him.
I don't think that Volk is going to be able to keep that distance that he normally likes to keep during fights. He has great pace during it. I think that will help him. But Makhachev just has insane endurance. I mean, the guy can last
train
the
with
whole
Khabib.
fight.
Khabib is
So that's the big thing with Volk is Volk has that endurance that he tires out. You saw with Max Holloway. I mean, Holloway was dead by the end that last round. So I think Makhachev defeats Volk easily.
So that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us for episode 7. Nathaniel, Dominic, Jack, Chris, fun episode. So Drake and 21 Savage collab album drops this weekend, and Smino is dropping too. Check it out. Great music. Like I mentioned last week, Hitting the Field now has a blog on medium.com. Patrick Previty gives us his weekly college football rankings, and last week, Isaiah Delgado got to do a little interview with Bulls center Andre Drummond about Andre's career. So that's on there too. Chris Brassington gave us his NBA preseason power rankings, and if you want to take a look back at Nathaniel's keys to victory for the main event, as well as his predictions that may not really have happened, like I mentioned earlier,
Cameron.
Of course, it's on there. We're doing some great stuff on there. I'll throw the link in the description. Good Kid, Mad City, 10-year anniversary was Saturday. Phenomenal album, my second favorite ever. Kendrick's best, Debate a Wall. We'll be back next week. Peace.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max.